Part 89. After the flash marriage, the character collapsed. Author, Dalby in the World. Chapter 881. Chapter 881 Exchanging saliva is the spread of bacteria 1. Jian'er, just feed me. It's not like you haven't drank before. When you were sick when you were a child, you always pestered me to feed you porridge. It's rare that I get sick, so just take care of me, Tanyuj. There was a hint of sadness in his eyes, and he did look a little pitiful. Seeing that the expression on Jianyuman's face didn't soften much, she made a disgusting sound again and squealed under her throat. Jian'er, I'm so hungry. I haven't eaten for a day and a night, and now I'm so exhausted. Please give me porridge to drink. You made preserved egg and lean meat porridge just for the sake of it. Do you mind sending Buddha to the west? Feed me some porridge. Sugar baby started acting cute, and his trick was very effective for Jianyuman. Whether it was 3 years ago or now, as long as he acts cute or shameless, he is invincible. Jianyuman's body goes numb when he says it directly. Jianyuman was complaining in her heart, this monster Tanyuj already looks very monster, why does his voice and behavior still look so foul? She couldn't refuse even if she wanted to, especially since she had already decided to feed him porridge. It was just her stubbornness that made her a little arrogant and look very embarrassed. Okay, stop acting coquettishly. You are such a man, almost 30 years old, and you still do such disgusting things. If you don't find it disgusting, I will. Jianyuman said disgusting words, but stopped moving her hands, picked up the spoon and took a small mouthful of porridge, put it to her mouth, blew on it and brought it to Tanyuj's mouth. Tanyuj immediately opened his mouth with a smile on his face and ate the preserved egg and lean meat porridge she brought over. It's delicious, much better than the preserved egg and lean meat porridge she made last time when he pretended to be sick. After Jianyuman left angrily last time, he got up pitifully to drink the porridge. Although it was delicious and he ate it all, the taste was far from what it tasted now. More than one of them was this time. Jianyuman fed him personally, and because of the faint smile on the face of the little woman in front of her, she looked like she was feeding him porridge seriously. To be cared for by her, he would rather be sick all the time and be cared for like this by her. Tanyuj greedily felt Jianyuman's care. Half a bowl of preserved egg and lean meat porridge entered his stomach, and he pointed at the other 2 snacks on the tray. I want to eat this. Tanyuj made the request, and Jianyuman obeyed the request honestly, picked up a small piece of snack and put it into Tanyuj's mouth. Tanyuj stuttered again. This time his expression changed slightly. He glanced at Jianyuman and stopped chewing the pumpkin pie in his mouth. Because the snack is so unpalatable, I originally thought it was sweet, but unexpectedly it turned out to be salty after eating, so the taste became very intoxicating. He glanced at Jianyuman several times and saw that her expression was normal and she didn't look like she was deliberately trying to tease him. He could only bite the bullet and eat it, but his expression was a little weird, which made Jianyuman look down at the pumpkin pie on the plate. What are you doing? Does it taste bad? Tanyuj twitched his lips and nodded awkwardly. The pumpkin pie is made salty, do you think it tastes good? Jianyuman picked up the pumpkin pie and put it in his mouth. After taking a bite, he understood what the problem was. She seemed to have mixed the salt into the flour as if it were sugar, and kneaded it together, making the food that was supposed to be sweet turn salty. Misstep. Jian'er, if you want to torture me, you shouldn't choose this time. End of this chapter. After the flash marriage, the character collapsed. Author, Dalby in the World. Chapter 882. Chapter 882 Exchanging saliva is the spread of bacteria 2. Jian'er, if you want to torture me, you shouldn't choose this time, Tanyuj said pitifully. After finishing one bite, he stopped eating. Jianyuman smiled awkwardly, then picked up a plate of swallow dumplings, tasted it herself first, and made sure it tasted as delicious as she expected, Then she put it to Tanyuz's mouth and coaxed him to eat it. It's definitely delicious this time. What if it doesn't taste good? Don't you still believe in my craftsmanship? It's not that I don't believe in your craftsmanship, it's that I doubt that you are supporting me in getting sick and torturing me. Am I such a person? Yes. Qian Yuman has a burst of integrity. Otherwise, if it doesn't taste good, you can eat all the pumpkin cake, Tanyuj said treacherously. Qian Yuman looked at the plate of pumpkin pie. She just took one bite and then spat it out. It was really difficult for her to eat it all. Can I ask for something else? Then kiss me, Tanyuj grinned brightly, pointed at his red lips and said with a smile. Qian Yuman made a fierce expression and actually acted rogue with her again, which was shameless. However, she believed in her craftsmanship more and immediately nodded in agreement. Tanyuj ate the swallow dumplings that Qian Yuman brought to his mouth. He originally wanted to pretend that they were not delicious, but after eating them, he found that they were so delicious that he could not even pretend that they were not delicious. He could only admit frankly that they were delicious and gave him a kiss. Just flew away. After finishing the food, Tanyuj was given medicine. The doctor told him to take medicine after eating. Tanyuj fell asleep not long after taking it. Qian Yuman spent the rest of the night taking care of Tanyuj to make sure that his body temperature did not rise. Although his body temperature was still high, it was not as hot as before. Qian Yuman, who had taken care of Tanyuj all night, fell asleep lying on the edge of the bed without knowing it. When Tanyuj woke up, he saw Qian Yuman asleep on the edge of the bed. After a night's rest, his body was obviously much better. He knew that he fell ill this time because he saw a series of interactions between Qian Yuman and Kenny, and he couldn't accept it for a while, which caused him to become seriously ill. They are all diseases of the heart. Heart diseases require heart medicine, and his medicine is the little woman in front of him. After being taken care of by her for a whole night, and Kenny not hanging around in front of him, his illness naturally recovered quickly. At this moment, Tanyuj deliberately ignored the scene he saw that night and quietly admired Qian Yuman in his sleep. He leaned sideways and stared quietly. The passage of time didn't seem to happen to him. He kept looking at her in the same posture for a long time, and he couldn't get tired of it at all. Small cherry mouth, high bridge of nose, curved eyebrows, and closed peach blossom eyes. In the past 2 years, she has become more and more feminine and more charming. She still has the same small mouth and eyes, but she has undergone so many changes in just over 2 years. When he woke up early in the morning, he could see her sleeping soundly, which made him very satisfied. Qian'er, how can I put you in my arms again and love you again? Can you tell me? I know you won't answer, but I still can't help but ask. When Qian Yuman woke up, she felt a pair of burning eyes staring at her. She felt a pair of eyes staring at her in her sleep. When she opened her eyes, she saw a pair of evil phoenix eyes. Keep staring at her. End of this chapter. You are listening to Novels at Bless Up channel. Wish you happiness and luck. Please subscribe to receive new novels. How do you feel about this novel? Please like and leave a comment. After the flash marriage, the character collapsed. Author, Dalby in the World. Chapter 883. Chapter 883 Exchanging Saliva is the Spread of Bacteria 3. Those phoenix eyes made her calm soul ripple, and her feelings suddenly lost control. She closed her eyes anxiously, fearing that her feelings would be revealed. Why are you staring at me? Qian Yuman opened her eyes again. Her emotions that were almost leaked were restrained, and there was more of a hint of teasing. Did you find that this beautiful woman is still sleeping with her eyes closed, and she almost got out of control and wanted to do something wrong to me? That's right. Tanyuj was in a good mood and joked along with Qian Yuman's words. Do you know that if you really do that, can I sue you for sexual harassment? Qian Yuman's eyes were threatening, and she raised her eyebrows at Tanyuj, her big and smart eyes sparkling, as if she was looking forward to that day. You can't win. Emgrand Group's legal team is a victorious team in the industry. Even if you sue, you will fail, Tanyuj smiled confidently. His legal team has never lost a lawsuit. Roar, Jian Yuman sat up and slapped her sore waist. She felt sore from lying down for too long. I won't argue with you anymore. Are you feeling better? If so, I will go home and rest. As soon as Tanyuj heard that Jian Yuman was leaving, his eyes that were still full of energy suddenly turned dull, and he covered his forehead with his right hand uncomfortably. No, I still feel very uncomfortable. I have been sick for 3 days. How can I be cured in one night? What's wrong with you? Jian Yuman asked anxiously after hearing that he still felt uncomfortable. I feel uncomfortable all over. Tanyuj's words were half true and half false. He had not fully recovered yet, and he was still feeling uncomfortable all over his body, but it was much better than yesterday. I think I still need to trouble you to come and visit me more in the next few days. Hey! Who made me sick in a foreign country? It's hard to eat some authentic national dishes. I ate the dishes you cooked last night, and the effect was very useful. Makes me feel the warmth of home. Jian Yuman frowned slightly and thought deeply. For the sake of your illness, I will come to see you when I have time these days. I will go back and rest first. Okay, be careful on the road. Tanyuj smiled and waved goodbye, but Jian Yuman took out the buns she made last night and gave them to Tanyuj to eat before leaving. Not long after Jian Yuman left, Tanyuj took out his mobile phone and made a call. Hey! Minister Jordan. It's me, Tanyuj. Please do me a favor. I'm sick recently. I hope you can give my wife a few days off to take care of me. Okay. Thank you for your concern. As long as you give my wife a few days off, is the biggest gift to me. Good. I will treat you to a big dinner next time. Hang up the phone. Tanyuj's mouth showed a successful smile. Let's see what other excuses she has for not coming to visit him. Tanyuj was in a good mood, even giggling. Thinking about their conversation during this period, he couldn't help but laugh. When Secretary John came to see his boss, he saw that his boss kept laughing like a fool, which made him afraid to go in, fearing that his boss's stupidity would ruin him. Mr. Tang asked Minister Jordan to do something very thoughtful. Jian Yuman went back to work for half a day and found that she would not have any work in the next week. She would only have half a day of work every 2 days, and some other time. Not important, you can even take it home and do the work. It was the most relaxing week since she came to London. End of this chapter. After the flash marriage, the character collapsed. Author, Dalby in the World. Chapter 884. Chapter 884 Driving a multi-million-dollar sports car to buy groceries 1. In the next period of time, Jian Yuman was still hesitating whether to go to Tanyuj's place because he had free time, so Tanyuj called and urged him to go. She did not refuse to go. After all, Tanyuj and Minister Jordan would find out if she was busy at work. Jian Yuman never expected that her leisure time during this period was entirely due to Tanyuj. Tanyuj knew that she had as much free time as she wanted during this time without Tanyuj asking. Jian Yuman will go to the supermarket to buy fresh ingredients every day in the next few days and cook a nutritious lunch at Tanyuj's house. Each meal is a nutritious lunch designed after consulting the doctor. Every time she comes to Tang's house, she only stays for 3 or 4 hours before leaving. There was just one thing that made Jian Yuman very upset. Although Tanyuj no longer had a high fever, his body was still very weak. He had little energy every day and slept or rested all day long. Thinking about it, he vomited blood that day, and his vitality could not be recovered in a day or two. She also used great patience to take care of Tanyuj. On this day, when she was preparing to go to the supermarket again, Kenny drove a sports car and parked in front of the hotel and waited. When he saw Jian Yuman coming out, He immediately went to greet her. "Little funny boy, do you want to go to the supermarket? I'll take you there." Kenny will come to see Jianyuman when he has free time these days. The two of them will have a meal almost every 2 days. Jianyuman asked Jianyuman early this morning. I hadn't heard that Kenny was coming, so I was a little surprised when I saw him. "Kenny Appa, you are even more handsome today, especially because of the sports car behind you." Kenny drove a yellow Bugatti today, which can be seen from a distance. Plus, he is a mixed race, so standing there it's so eye-catching next to the car. Kenny had been sitting in the car before, but he still attracted a lot of attention. Fortunately, he wore fake glasses on his face, otherwise his face would appear directly in front of the public, and she would inevitably become tomorrow's headlines. Comparatively speaking, Kenny Bryce, the son of the world's richest man, can easily be on the front page of entertainment and finance. "I'm driving today." Jianyuman ran towards the driver's seat with a smile, feeling a little excited at the thought that she was going to drive a multi-million sports car. Sitting in the car, Jianyuman touched left and right, feeling the charm of these two sports cars. I think her Chi family is also a billionaire, but for their family, a sports car worth millions is still too luxurious. Their most expensive car is worth millions, and they would be reluctant to buy any more expensive car, let alone drive it. Kenny has a particularly wasteful hobby, buying cars. Jianyuman once counted how many cars he drove a year, and he ended up with more than a dozen, almost one a month. Sometimes he even drives different colors of cars according to his mood. Later, I asked him how many cars he owned. I didn't know if I didn't ask, but I was shocked when I asked him. 108, almost every city-state with houses will have more than 2 cars. In Paris, there is a parking garage with more than 20 good cars. The annual maintenance of these cars is a sky-high price. Normally, Kenny doesn't do much to show off his wealth. He doesn't spend a lot of money in many aspects of life. He also dresses simply. He doesn't even have as many clothes as she does, a woman. I usually eat everything from a meal worth hundreds of thousands of yuan to ramen worth a dozen yuan, and I don't have the attitude of a rich second generation at all. But when it comes to cars, the luxury is staggering. End of this chapter. After the flash marriage, the character collapsed. Author, Daobi in the World. Chapter 885. Chapter 885. Driving a multi-million-dollar sports car to buy groceries too. But there is no way. Who makes the Kenny family rich? The world's richest man. His family's assets exceed 100 billion, and his personal assets are nearly 100 billion. Buying a sports car is like buying a toy. Only when she saw him driving did she realize how huge the difference between their wealth and poverty was. Let's go shopping for groceries in a sports car worth millions." Starting the engine, Jianyuman shouted excitedly, stepped on the accelerator, and the sports car sped off like a gust of wind. When Jianyuman parked the car in the parking lot, Kenny finally let go of the armrest and patted his chest in shock. "Little funny boy, I think I should drive next time. Every time I take your car, I have to worry about whether I need to buy more insurance for myself this year." Jianyuman didn't know what was going on in the past 2 years. As long as she sat in the driver's seat and drove a sports car, she would race like crazy, cheering and racing at the same time. She thought she wouldn't know how to race after coming to London instead of Paris. In the end, he found that he had thought too much. Today, he once again used his own life to prove that it is also very scary for a woman to drive a car. Jianyuman raised her eyebrows, glanced at Kenny's pale face, and then covered her head with laughter. "You look useless, you don't have the guts at all. I cherish life and don't want little Mickey to lose his godfather." "Oh," Jianyuman responded seriously, then laughed and fell on the driver's seat. Entering the supermarket, Kenny pushed the shopping cart, and Jianyuman held her chin with one hand, looking at the fresh vegetables, thinking about what to eat today. Dazzled by the vegetables, Jian-Yuman was immersed in the thought of picking vegetables. Kenny, who was quietly pushing the cart beside him, kept looking at Jian-Yuman. "Kenny Appa, do you think this vegetable looks like you?" Jian-Yuman suddenly took a piece of Chinese cabbage, pointed at it and said with a smile. Kenny looked at it carefully, and then sighed in confusion. "How does it look like me?" "Hi," Jian-Yuman smiled crookedly with peach blossom eyes, put the cabbage close to Kenny's face, nodded and explained. "As white as you, especially this cabbage leaf, it's exactly the same as your hairstyle today." "Then you look like this broccoli." Kenny picked up a green broccoli. "Why?" Jian-Yuman didn't understand. Broccoli didn't look like her. Although this vegetable had the word flower in it, it was still a food. Big head, thin body. As soon as Kenny finished speaking, he was immediately swept by Jian-Yuman's shadowless legs. The two of them were playing around in the supermarket and had a lot of fun. Kenny was pushing the car to escape, while Jian-Yuman was chasing after him with broccoli. The two were having so much fun that they didn't see them for a while. Two figures came out at the corner and were hit by Jian-Yuman, who couldn't dodge. He went up, but Kenny successfully made a sharp turn to avoid it. "Ouch!" Three voices sounded at the same time, and Jian-Yuman knocked the young man and woman to the ground like a bowling ball. After knocking someone down, Jian-Yuman immediately got up from the ground and apologized again and again, looking apologetic. A man and a woman were knocked down by Jian-Yuman. The girl was dressed very cutely. The bow hairpin on her head was knocked crooked. The boy next to the girl was a fair and handsome boy, wearing a peaked cap on his head. The sunglasses originally on his face fell to the side because of Jian-Yuman's collision, revealing his delicate face. End of this chapter. You are listening to Novels at Bless Up channel. Wish you happiness and luck. Please subscribe to receive new novels. How do you feel about this novel? Please like and leave a comment. After the flash marriage, the character collapsed. Author, Dalby in the World. Chapter 886. Chapter 886 Meeting Jian's mother again 1. Jian-Yuman apologized sincerely and looked naturally at the boy and girl who had suffered. The boy found that his sunglasses had been knocked out. He immediately picked up the sunglasses on the ground and was about to put them on again, but Jian-Yuman grabbed his arm. You, oh my God. How could I meet you here?" Jian-Yuman was so excited that she couldn't speak a complete sentence for a while, and even got stuck in her words. Her face turned red with excitement. The boy didn't expect to be rudely grabbed by the other party. He thought he had been identified by the fans, so he smiled and refused the request for autographs and photos. "I'm sorry, I'm Teacher Qian." The beautiful boy saw the woman holding his arm clearly and shouted in surprise. The cute girl next to the boy heard the beautiful boy's shout, looked at Jian-Yuman, and then shouted happily. "It's really Teacher Qian." "Ah, it's really classmate Wang Xinian, and classmate Zhang Qiuyun." Jian-Yuman reached out excitedly and gave Wang Xinian and Zhang Qiuyun a big and warm hug. She was so excited. She had never seen these two students since she was taken away by Wang Tianyue. Especially Wang Xinian. She was already a big fan of Wang Xinian before she went to school to teach. She didn't expect to meet classmate Wang Xinian in a supermarket in a foreign country. She couldn't be more excited. Think of her, one of Jian-Yuman's major hobbies in life is to look at handsome guys, young girls, and young ladies. Wang Xinian is a little idol that she has been following since she was a child. Although she has not seen Wang Xinian in the past 2 years, she has learned a lot about his current situation due to his continuous popularity and the popularity that often dominates the headlines in the entertainment industry. In the past few years, he has even acted in Hollywood blockbusters, which has led to his transformation from a domestic idol star to an internationally renowned actor with a large number of fans at home and abroad. Jian-Yuman's eyes fell on Zhang Qiuyun's affectionate hold on Wang Xinian's arm. A faint smile appeared at the corner of her mouth, and she stretched out her hand to pinch Zhang Qiuyun's cheek affectionately. "Okay, classmate Xiaoyun, I didn't expect you to really catch." Classmate Wang Qianyuman raised her eyebrows, bumped Zhang Qiuyun with her shoulder, and teased Zhang Qiuyun. Qianyuman can remember that Zhang Qiuyun, as the squad leader, always had low self-esteem because of her old-fashioned clothes. "After falling in love with Wang Xinian for a while, I always had low self-esteem because of my appearance. Later I found out about Qianyuman and asked her to give Zhang Qiuyun a big change. Qianyuman took Zhang Qiuyun to the fashion store and dressed her up in Japanese style. Unexpectedly, Zhang Qiuyun turned out to be very beautiful and cute after dressing up. Later, she went to school dressed up, which caused quite a stir. Later I heard that she successfully made an appointment with Wang Xinian to watch a movie together. Later, during the summer vacation, the two had several dates and meetings. Before Qianyuman left City S, the relationship between the two was just friends and had not yet risen to the level of lovers. I didn't expect to meet the two students I taught back then again in a supermarket in a foreign country, and it was obvious that the two had become a couple. Teacher Qian, Zhang Qiuyun's cheeks turned red and she shyly turned her body to the side and buried her face in Wang Xinian's arms. Kenny, who came back, saw Qianyuman talking and laughing with the boy and girl, and immediately walked to her side. As a boy, Wang Xinian was not as shy as Zhang Qiuyun, so his eyes naturally fell on Kenny, who was standing behind Qianyuman, and then he changed his identity and started teasing him. End of this chapter. After the flash marriage, the character collapsed. Author, Daobi in the World. Chapter 887. Chapter 887 Meeting Qian's mother again too. Teacher Qian, the man behind you can't be your new boyfriend, Wang Xinian teased in turn. When Zhang Qiuyun in her arms heard his words, she turned her head and looked at Kenny with her round eyes. Teacher Qian, you really divorced Xingai's brother and got together with this handsome mixed-race guy, and why does this person look so familiar? Zhang Qiuyun frowned and thought, keeping her eyes on Kenny, trying to remember where she had seen him. Everyone in the school knew that Qianyuman and Tangyuj were once married. After all, Tangyuj once ran to the school to pick up Qianyuman, so the relationship between Tangyuj and Qianyuman was exposed. In addition, Tang Xingai was still a classmate with them, and after Qi Lili pretended to be Qianyuman and jumped into the river, it also caused a sensation in the whole school. Later, I heard that teacher Qian got her back, but she divorced Tang Xingai's brother at the same time. I don't know what happened after that, because Qianyuman never came to the school again, and they lost the news about Qianyuman. The words of Wang Xinian and Zhang Qiuyun made Qianyuman feel embarrassed. She glanced at Kenny and then explained with a smile. He is just a friend of mine. Then why did you divorce Xingai's brother back then? Brother Xingai liked you so much, and you were so in love, Zhang Qiuyun continued to ask. These questions had been curious in her heart for a long time. She didn't know about the divorce and loss of Qianyuman and Tangyuj. Much to my regret and confusion. Zhang Qiuyun asked a series of questions, which left Qianyuman speechless and didn't know how to answer them for a while. Teacher Qian, Yunyun is stupid and can't ask questions. If you don't want to answer, you don't have to answer. Wang Xinian's emotional intelligence is much higher than that of Zhang Qiuyun. He could see Qianyuman's embarrassment and unwillingness to answer at a glance, so he immediately covered his face. Girlfriend's mouth. Teacher Qian, do you live in London now? I am currently studying in London and will study here for another 3 years. We can see each other often in the future. Zhang Qiuyun immediately changed the subject and asked Qianyuman about her current situation. It has been 2 years since Zhang Qiuyun and Wang Xinian were together. After that, they went through the college entrance examination and other issues such as entering higher education, but they were not separated. Zhang Qiuyun's family sent her to study abroad a year ago. In addition, she was a very good student and went to the best university in London for further study. Wang Xinian also attended an art university, but not in this country. In addition, as an idol star, he flies around the world every day, so the two of them spend less time together and more time apart. Recently, without any notice, he flew over to stay with his girlfriend for vacation, enjoying the ordinary life of a couple. Abroad, the two of them can still go out and hang out, because their popularity abroad is relatively small, but in China they dare not go out at all, because Wang Xinian is so popular in China, and sometimes fans will be attracted by just a glance from behind. Figure it out. In addition, their love is still an underground love affair that is kept secret from the outside world. They dare not bring their feelings to the table. They can only relax a little when they are abroad. Qian Yuman shook her head regretfully. Seeing Qian Yuman shaking her head in denial, Zhang Qiuyun instantly became depressed. Qian Yuman smiled and touched Zhang Qiuyun's head. Teacher is currently working as a translator in country F. He is here on a business trip for 2 months and will return to Paris in 1 month. If you have time, you can come to Paris to hang out with me. The distance is not very far. The flight will take you there in a few hours. End of this chapter. After the flash marriage, the character collapsed. Author, Daobi in the World. Chapter 888. Chapter 888 Meeting Qian's Mother Again 3. Okay, then I will go see the teacher when I have time, but I don't have that much time these days. I will go and see you more on his behalf. Zhang Qiuyun smiled shyly. Qian Yuman and Wang Xinian exchanged contact information frequently and parted ways. Their re-encounter did not have much impact. At most, passers-by saw 4 handsome men and beauties chatting here. Because the appearance of all of them was outstanding, it did not make Wang Xinian stand out and attract small fans to watch. However, it was inevitable to take a few photos as a souvenir. Qian Yuman and Kenny continued to visit the supermarket. When they selected the ingredients they needed and were waiting in line to check out, Qian Yuman suddenly became very excited and rushed out, leaving Kenny and the carefully selected ingredients. "Mom, Mom, Mom," Qian Yuman shouted excitedly at the top of her lungs. While Qian Yuman was queuing up to pay, she saw a woman who looked exactly like Qian Xian'er. She had a calmer temperament, but her facial features were exactly that of Qian's mother. She was carrying a few fruits in her hands and was walking out slowly. Qian Yuman saw Qian's mother at a glance, and then chased her excitedly. The people queuing in front of Qian Yuman saw how excited she was and made some passages for her. Qian Yuman called her mother while thanking her and chased her out frantically. When she rushed out of the crowd, she saw her mother sitting in the elevator, facing her side, but her eyes did not fall on Qian Yuman, who kept calling for her mother. Qian Yuman ran to the elevator and looked at the closed elevator door in annoyance. The supermarket was on the 3rd floor. She ran from the emergency passage to the entrance of the supermarket on the 1st floor without hesitation. Qian Yuman panted and looked around. Even though she had good eyesight, she still couldn't see her mother after looking around. "Where's my mother? Where's my mother? Why did she seem not to notice when I called her so loudly just now? Could it be that I was dazzled?" Qian Yuman searched again but still couldn't find Renren. Suddenly, the car key that her mother was holding suddenly came to mind, and she immediately climbed the stairs to the underground parking garage with a look on her face. She still remembered that the icon on the car key was a Bentley. Her mother drove a Bentley car, so it was easy to find. When Qian Yuman checked all the cars in Nyada's parking lot, he couldn't find her mother's car. Qian Yu was so exhausted that he fell to the ground and kept looking at the cars around him, feeling more hesitant than ever before. "Mom, where are you? Have you left?" Qian Yuman buried her face between her legs sadly. It has been more than 3 years. Her mother has been missing for 3 full years. There has been no news about her mother for so many years, and she has almost given up looking for her. "I didn't expect to meet my mother again in a supermarket in London." Kenny, who finally found Qian Yuman, slowly squatted down, hugged the helpless Jian tightly into his arms, and comforted her softly. "Little funny boy, don't be sad." "Kenny? That's my mother." "I saw it wrong." Jian raised her head and looked at Kenny in confusion. Even she was not sure whether the person she just saw was her mother. She was afraid that she was thinking about things day and night, and that everything she saw was an illusion and not real, because she missed her mother so much. Otherwise, why did I just see my mother and call her loudly? Why did she not only not stop, but also leave? End of this chapter. You are listening to Novels at Bless Up channel. Wish you happiness and luck. Please subscribe to receive new novels. How do you feel about this novel? Please like and leave a comment. After the flash marriage, the character collapsed. Author, Dalby in the World. Chapter 889. Chapter 889 Meeting Qian's mother again. 4. He was even indifferent to her call, as if he was calling someone else, and didn't even look at her. "You are right, I can see clearly that it is indeed Aunt Qian," Kenny analyzed patiently. "It's just that there's something wrong with Auntie. She seems to be indifferent to your yelling." "Yes. I called her so loudly, but she didn't seem to hear it at all." "Why didn't she respond? Did I call her not loud enough or something happened? Where is she now?" "I tried my best to chase her out, but she couldn't. Still haven't caught up with her. Since I saw my aunt today, it means that she is now in London. As long as you are in London, you can always find her. It is easier than finding a needle in a haystack before," Kenny said optimistically. But even these words still made Jian sad, because she realized one thing. Since Mom has woken up, why don't you come to see her and say that she is safe? 2.5 years ago, I received news that she was still in a coma. Now seeing people at least proves that she has recovered and is no longer in a vegetative state in bed. This was indeed something to be happy about, but thinking about her mother's lack of attention, she became very sad. Kenny comforted Jian for a long time before Jian calmed down. As Kenny said, it was a very happy thing to meet her mother on the street today. At least it proved that her mother had woken up and left them. Mother and daughter reunion is very close. As long as Qian Mama is in London, they can find Qian Mama. After thinking about it, Jian mood suddenly changed, with a smile on her face. Nothing could be better for her than having news about her mother again. She was already looking forward to the scene when mother and daughter would meet again. Jian was in an excited mood. Kenny was reluctant to let Jian drive, fearing that she would lose control of her mood for a moment. If she wanted to cheer, he would let go of the steering wheel and wave his hands to sing. So Kenny took back the driving authority and drove Jian to Tangyu's house. The car was driving slowly on the road. When Jian was sitting in Kenny's car, she kept complaining that Kenny could only drive 50 yards. He was so gentle and didn't look like an experienced driver at all. Little did he know that Kenny wanted to be safe. Go slow and don't increase your risk by going too fast. In addition, if you drive slower, you can stay together longer. Jian slowly calmed down from the emotion of seeing her mother again, and looked at Kenny Oba, who was concentrating on driving. "Kenny Appa, are you unhappy that I often go to Mickey's dad's house these days?" "No way," a handsome mixed-race guy smiled and told a lie. In fact, he was very concerned about it. After all, Tangyuj was Mickey's father and Jian ex-husband, and he was the one who could never be forgotten in his heart. "Really not." "Really, I won't be jealous," Kenny replied with a slight smile and gave Jian a sincere look. "Kenny Appa, just don't be jealous. I'm worried that if you're not happy, you'll rush in and quarrel with him. You also know that he is little Mickey's father. I can't completely ignore him. I'm watching him this time. It's pitiful to be sick in a foreign country, and if his pigtails are broken, little Mickey will lose his father. I also know in my heart that it is impossible for me to be with him, and taking care of him this time is just a reminder of our past friendship. End of this chapter. After the flash marriage, the character collapsed. Author, Dalby in the World. Chapter 890. Chapter 890. Mr. Tang has a sweet mouth. That's all. The old love is there. Although she has not completely let go of him in her heart, she has already realized the relationship between them. There is no possibility for them to get back together. Even though she still had a place for him in her heart lost its dimension because of him. The reason why she explained was that she didn't want to make Kenny feel uncomfortable, even though she had no intention of accepting him. She rejected Kenny's proposal, but he was willing to protect her silently, but she couldn't always ignore his feelings. If she could avoid it, she wouldn't mind explaining a few more words. The reason why she has been unwilling to accept Kenny is because she still can't let go of Tang Yuj. She can't be with Kenny without letting go of other men. That would be too unfair to Kenny. In fact, she hoped that they could go back to their old life and joke around casually. He would often visit their mother and son, and there would be no burden at all being with him. Now when joking with Kenny Oba, she no longer dares to be as free as she used to be, and she no longer dares to say something too ambiguous. Even thought of caring about Kenny's mood and explaining some things to him, just like now. She still needs to get used to her current weird relationship. Kenny doesn't look weird at all, but she is still a little bit weird. As for the relationship with Tang Yuj, this time he is cured and they will return to the relationship of passers-by. On the way ahead, the air pressure was obviously better because of Qian Yuman's explanation. Qian Yuman thought silently, and sure enough Kenny Appa still minded. In the past few days, she had been visiting Tang Yuj every day and preparing lunch for Tang Yuj, which made her feel more or less comfortable. Kenny hasn't tasted Qian Yuman's delicacies for more than a month, but Tang Yuj has been able to eat them every day during this period. There is a big gap. Even Xian Yingzhe was dissatisfied, and the promise to cook a big meal at his house was shelved. Kenny sent Qian Yuman to Tang Yuz's house and left in a hurry. Qian Yuman entered Tang Yuz's home in London by familiar means and got busy in the kitchen. Tang Yuz, who was almost fully recovered from his illness after 3 or 4 days of recuperation, heard the busy sounds coming from the kitchen and immediately came over happily. Just to continue pretending to be sick so that Qian Yuman could come a few more times, he wrapped himself tightly, with a tired look on his face, looking listless. "Qian, you're here." Tang Yuz walked slowly and leisurely to the door of the kitchen, lying on the door frame and looking at Qian Yuman's busy figure. Qian Yuman stopped what she was doing and turned her head to greet Tang Yuz. "Are you feeling better today?" "Much better." Tang Yuz nodded, his mouth felt like it was covered with honey, and he said a bunch of sweet words. "Seeing you every day makes me feel better and my illness will heal faster. After eating the delicious food you cook, I will recover twice as fast." Qian Yuman glanced at Tang Yuz and didn't take what he said to heart. From the past to the present, Tang Yuz's mouth has always been sweet, and he has said some heartwarming words from time to time. It was because of his mouth that he deceived most of my heart back then. She wouldn't misunderstand what he said, and she didn't dare to think about it, for fear that after thinking about it, she would be even more unable to let it go. So she kept telling herself during this period not to think wildly, not to be sentimental, and just keep a normal mind. "Are you still saying that no one has written about small theaters? There are red envelopes and prizes, and the prizes are physical books." End of this chapter.